Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you enjoy a daily dose of Reddit stories, hit subscribe and join in on the fun. In our first story, a choosing beggar who wants a refund for her free water. She gets what she deserves. Let's jump right in. So I work at a local coffee shop in a pretty busy area. Usually things are pretty chill, but this past weekend we had a festival that was literally right outside of our store, and it got a little hectic. It was also decently hot outside, about 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, with the humidity. So needless to say, a lot of people were getting cold drinks instead of hot drinks. I do want to mention as well that we had a lot of orders for waters too. People ordered them, but we weren't making any money on them because we just give them out. Any size water is free. Now, due to the fact everyone wanted iced cold drinks, our ice machine wasn't able to keep up. If we completely ran out of ice, then we couldn't sell iced drinks, so we got to the point where we weren't able to put ice in the waters anymore, and every paid drink was getting light ice. Most people understood this and accepted it. They took the waters anyway since it was a hot day. It wasn't that bad since it was still cold water they were getting. But then in walks a Karen. She had ordered a few ice waters, and when she saw that she didn't get ice in her water, she slammed down her fists on the counter and started screaming at my coworker that she needed ice in her flipping waters now. My coworker explained the situation to her, how our ice machine was not able to keep up on a hot day like today, so now we weren't able to put ice in the waters, and apologized. Karen then decided that wasn't going to work for her and began screaming for a manager. That's the point where I stepped in. I re-explained the situation to Karen since what my coworker had told her was correct. Karen then started screaming about wanting a refund. That isn't a problem, miss. Do you want a refund for your entire order? Well, yes, this is flipping ridiculous. So I went over to the till and printed out a receipt for her 3 waters, all of the waters at $0. Then I took the receipt and walked back over to Karen and handed it to her. Here you go. That is 3 waters at $0, coming to a total of $0. Have a nice day. Karen was so angry at not receiving any compensation for her free waters that she stormed out of our cafe. The funny thing is that she didn't even take the waters with her. In story number 2, our OP offers to do some work for her mother's friend at a very cheap price, but her choosing beggar son spoils the deal. So I am jobless right now and not getting any callbacks on my job hunt. It's all good though, I am pretty handy, have my own truck and tools, and do a side job now and then to pay for gas and food. My mom called me up asking if I would do a side job for her friend. Her friend is a lady she knows from church who had a pretty big water leak. Now that the remediation is done, she needs someone to come to put the sheetrock and trim back on, tape and float, and texture the walls and ceiling. Typically, for a job like this, I would charge about $800 for labor and about $200 in materials. This would cover my trips to price it, gather the materials, and do the job. But I had some leftover material from my last job, so I cut her a family and friends deal and told them I would do it for $400. Also, keep in mind this lady was loaded. The house was about 6 times the median average for the area, and they had the furniture, pool, and cars to go with it. I even felt a little stupid for cutting her a deal, but she's my mom's church friend and all. She agrees to the price, and I start loading my truck, and then I get a call from her son, who wants to go over the numbers with me. He starts off asking for the friends and family discount. I tell him he has already gotten it. Then he wants a cash discount for no taxes. I tell him he already has that too. This haggling goes on for a few minutes, and I don't give him a single dollar. He is not happy, but I don't really care. When I get there to do the job, he is there, and when he sees the half-used box mud and the partial sheets of the sheetrock, he asks where they came from. I told him that they came from my last job. He then starts going on and on about needing a discount for used materials, how I promised some new materials, and how I am ripping his mother off. His mother is nowhere to be seen while he is doing this. At this point, I know how this job will turn out. If I do the work, as soon as I finish, he will inspect it, find flaws, then want a discount, or to renegotiate the price. So when he tells me that he is going to get some more quotes, I just smile and say, "That suits me fine." Then I load my truck back up and leave. Later that night, my mother calls me up wanting to know why I was trying to rip off her friend by using used materials. I told her the whole story and we both got a good laugh out of it. About 3 weeks later, my mom calls me up and tells me that her friend can't find anyone to do the work for less than $800, and she would like me to come back to do the work. I tell my mom that I am not interested. About a week later, the lady calls me directly. First, she apologizes to me. Then she tells me that her son found and hired a guy to do the job for $800. He wanted half of the money up front, which they agreed to. Once he was paid, he dropped off the materials, but then he never came back. Now she just wanted the holes in her walls and ceilings fixed. I tell her that I am happy to do that for her. The price is $400. She agrees, and I go over to do the work the very next day. When I arrive, the first thing I see is that her son is there again. I am not in the mood for his crap. Sure enough, he starts telling his mother it's better this way, because at least now I won't be using scraps and used materials. At this point, I was ready to knock his block off, but instead, I tell the lady there is one more condition. I get paid in full before I start. They both look at me dumbfounded, and I know it stung them because she had just been ripped off. When she asked me why I wanted to be paid in full first, I told her that it was because I already knew that her son was going to try to renegotiate the deal once the work was completed. Her son lost his stuff. He called me a crook, a liar, and a few other choice words. I was right though. That was exactly what he was going to do, and I called him on it. The lady wanted me to do the work, and she was willing to pay me cash right there, but he would not let her. His pride would not allow it. But I am not a sucker, and I was not going to be bullied by this guy. So again, I packed up my truck and left without doing the work. This lady's son was one of those guys that have to haggle to get a better deal no matter what. He just couldn't stand it that I would never give in to him even a little. My mother told me it took her friend a couple of months to find someone else to do the work for her. The lesson I learned was never to give a deal to friends and family up front. Always go higher in the beginning, at least enough so that you can give them a little discount back. That way you won't hurt their feelings. They feel like great negotiators, and I know that I have gotten the price that I wanted. In story number 3, a choosing beggar mother thinks that the beach bar owes her freebies. Okay, so I just found out about this. The choosing beggar in question is married to a family friend, and to be honest, she does not even look the type. She is very kind when you talk to her, asks polite questions about your work and life, and appears to mind her own business. Alas, Reddit, you know that appearances are often deceiving. There have been instances where her true colors have shined through, including, but not limited to, trying to eavesdrop when a personal conversation is taking place, feeling entitled to IT services from her brother-in-law at all hours of the day, feeling entitled to stuff that her brother-in-law has occasionally bought his parents, choosing beggars' father-in-law and mother-in-law, bad-mouthing people who consider her a friend for no apparent reason, etc. On to the story. I am blessed enough to live in a country with beautiful beaches. I am further blessed because in my city, the coastline where it is safe and clean to swim in is about 50 kilometers long. Along this continuous coastline, there are several beach bars that basically offer chaise lounges or coffee tables and sell beverages, coffees, maybe a beer and food. These are very reasonably priced, about as much as you would pay in a coffee shop around the town. Furthermore, you are free to use the lounges for as long as you wish, the parking lot and the showers to wash off the salt. There are no entry fees as one may find in private beaches. It is expected, however, that you will make a purchase while at their establishment. Shocker, right? Apart from the organized shops, there is a lot of room, at least 10 times as much, where the coastline is completely empty and you're free to take your own stuff, chairs, umbrellas, whatever, and sit and enjoy the beach for free. This brings us to our story. Our choosing beggar is an entitled mother of 2, a baby, and a very, very not entitled and sweet boy around 5. Choosing Beggar and company pull up at the parking lot of such an establishment and take out their chairs and umbrellas. They set up camp right next to the shop-owned lounges. They enjoy the beach, the sun, and general summertime when a waiter from the shop walks up to them and asks if they would perhaps like to order. The family says no, and the waiter leaves them be. When it was time to leave, I'm assuming the waiter was annoyed that the choosing beggar took up the space in the parking lot but left no money in the shop, because he went up to their car and asked for €5 for parking, which is again a reasonable price for parking on private property. Folks, he might as well have slapped her in the face. How dare you? The beach belongs to everyone! Ma'am, I'm not charging you for entering the beach, nor for occupying the space with your things. I'm simply asking you for payment for parking your car in our property. I'm going to write the rest of the conversation in lowercase letters because I find caps annoying, but you can rest assured that the decibels were not spared here. You greedy bastards! You're taking up all of the beach with your chairs and leave no space for swimmers! Ma'am, we only own the land where the kitchen, bathroom, and parking lot are. We are not asking for payment for anything else. After some back and forth on this ridiculous issue, the choosing beggar changes tactics. You want us to pay to come to this beach, and you don't even make the beach accessible for kids. There's no sand here, and their little feet can get hurt on the pebbles. We have no right to landscape the beach, only our property. We have a shaded playground for children and a set of swings. Thankfully, her mother got too embarrassed by the end and she just paid the poor guy. Gee, lady, just drive another 500 meters and don't use up a business's resources. It's not rocket science. This has been John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.